Imagine being around someone who constantly drags you down, whether it's with their negativity, criticism, or selfish behavior. It's exhausting, isn't it? Toxic people have a way of sneaking into our lives, and before we know it, they're taking a toll on our happiness and well-being. But what if you didn't have to put up with them anymore? What if you could handle toxic people with ease, without feeling drained, angry, or helpless? In this video, I'm going to show you practical, everyday strategies to protect your peace and handle toxic people so you can live a life free from their negativity. Before you can handle toxic people, you first need to know who they are. Recognizing toxic behavior can be tricky, especially when it's someone close to you, family, a friend, or even a colleague. But it's essential to identify them to protect your mental health. Toxic people often exhibit patterns of behavior that leave you feeling drained, frustrated, or anxious. They may criticize you constantly, belittle your achievements, or make everything about themselves. Over time, this kind of behavior can wear down your self-esteem and disrupt your emotional well-being. But toxic people don't always appear evil. Sometimes they might even seem like they have good intentions. They might justify their actions with statements like, "I'm just being honest," or "I'm trying to help you." But the truth is, their actions are selfish, manipulative, and often done with little regard for how they make you feel. Recognizing these signs is the first step toward reclaiming your peace. Ask yourself, does being around this person make you feel better about yourself, or do you leave their presence feeling exhausted, anxious, or even depressed? Think about this. Have you ever been in a conversation where someone just couldn't stop talking about themselves, or belittled your success in a way that left you feeling small? These are signs of a toxic person, someone whose words and actions erode your sense of self-worth. Once you've identified these people in your life, you'll have a clearer view of how to handle them in a way that minimizes their impact on your life. One of the most powerful tools you have for dealing with toxic people is setting boundaries. But here's the catch. Toxic people don't always respect boundaries. They might try to push you, guilt trip you, or manipulate you into ignoring your needs. And that's exactly why setting them is so important. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away or being rude. They're about taking care of yourself. For example, if a family member constantly interrupts you when you speak, calmly let them know that you'd like to finish your thoughts before they respond. If a colleague takes credit for your work, set a boundary by speaking up and making sure your contributions are recognized. Boundaries also apply to emotional interactions. If someone continuously shares negative stories or unloads their problems on you, it's okay to say, "I can't engage with this right now," or "I need to take a break from this conversation." But it's not just about saying no, it's about how you say it. A gentle but firm tone can go a long way in asserting your boundaries. The key here is consistency. If you set a boundary, make sure you enforce it. Toxic people will often test your limits, but if you stand firm, they'll eventually understand that their behavior won't affect you the way it used to. And don't feel guilty about setting boundaries. Many people, especially toxic individuals, will try to make you feel selfish for taking care of yourself. But here's the truth. Saying no to something that doesn't serve you is an act of self-respect, not selfishness. Sometimes toxic people will push back against your boundaries, especially if they're used to controlling or manipulating you. But remember, you have the right to protect your emotional space. Enforcing these boundaries might feel uncomfortable at first, but with time, you'll grow more confident and resilient. When you're dealing with toxic people, it's crucial to protect your mental health. They can be a source of constant stress, and if you're not careful, their negativity can seep into your thoughts, making you question your own worth and decisions. To shield yourself, practice mindfulness. Focus on the present moment and remind yourself that you are not responsible for other people's actions or feelings. Toxic people often try to make you feel guilty for their emotions. Don't fall for it. It's their responsibility to manage their emotions, not yours. Another technique is to limit your emotional investment in toxic people. This doesn't mean you have to become cold or distant. It simply means you protect your peace by not internalizing their negativity. If someone is rude or disrespectful, you don't have to absorb their bad energy. Instead, practice detachment. Acknowledge their behavior, but don't let it affect your inner calm. For example, let's say a toxic person at work constantly criticizes you. Instead of letting their comments affect your confidence, take a deep breath and remind yourself of your worth. Go for a walk during lunch to clear your head or talk to a supportive colleague to regain perspective. The more you practice these techniques, the better you'll become at protecting your mental health in the face of toxicity. It's important to remind yourself that toxic people's behavior is a reflection of them, not you. When you don't take their negativity personally, you protect your peace. The more you practice this, the easier it will become to separate your emotional state from their actions. limits. And don't forget to practice self-care. Engage in activities that make you feel good, whether it's exercising, meditating, reading, or spending time with people who lift you up. The stronger your mental health, the easier it will be to handle toxic interactions without losing yourself. Emotional detachment is one of the most empowering strategies when dealing with toxic people. It means learning to emotionally disconnect from their behavior so that it doesn't affect you in the same way. For example, imagine you're dealing with a toxic colleague who is constantly criticizing you. Instead of reacting emotionally to their words, practice stepping back mentally. Remind yourself that their negativity is a reflection of them, not you. This mental shift allows you to respond to them calmly and assertively without being drawn into their emotional drama. Another key aspect of emotional detachment is maintaining your empathy. Just because you detach emotionally doesn't mean you stop caring about the person. It means you stop taking on their emotional burdens. You can be compassionate without absorbing their negativity. One helpful technique is the gray rock method. When toxic people try to provoke you, respond with short, neutral answers. For example, if someone tries to start a drama, instead of engaging, you could say, "I see," or "Okay." This method helps deflect their attempts to manipulate you into an emotional response. By practicing emotional detachment, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster that toxic people try to drag you onto. You'll find that when you don't take their words or actions personally, you're able to stay calm and unaffected. Sometimes, no matter how many strategies you use, the best option is to walk away from the toxic person entirely. This can be difficult, especially when it's someone close to you. But staying in a toxic relationship can have long-term negative effects on your emotional and physical well-being. The moment you realize that the relationship is causing you more harm than good, it's time to reevaluate. Sometimes, walking away is an act of self-care, not selfishness. You can't pour from an empty cup. If being around this person constantly drains you, it might be time to distance yourself, whether that means taking a break from a friend or leaving a toxic work environment. Cutting ties doesn't have to be dramatic or hostile. You can do it respectfully. A simple, clear conversation can often work wonders. Let the person know that you need space for your own well-being and that their behavior is no longer something you're willing to tolerate. But if they don't respect your boundaries or refuse to change, it may be time to walk away for good. This could mean reducing contact with a toxic family member or even ending a romantic relationship that has become emotionally unhealthy. Ultimately, walking away can open the door for healthier relationships and self-growth. When you decide to walk away, make sure you don't feel guilty. Prioritize your well-being over toxic attachments, and remember that it's okay to put yourself first. Handling toxic people isn't always easy, but it's necessary for maintaining your mental and emotional health. By recognizing toxic behavior, setting boundaries, protecting your mental health, emotionally detaching, and knowing when to walk away, you can reclaim your peace and live a life free from negativity. Remember, you have the power to control how you respond to others and the strength to protect your own well-being. Start implementing these strategies today and take back control of your life.